Hello, everyone, and welcome to the live broadcast of my Winter Storm Gale coverage. So let me turn on my display capture here, and let's get started. So I'm going to go into here. Let's start with the National Weather Service. So we have winter storm warnings from North Carolina to Massachusetts, and winter storm watches all the way up into Maine. This thing is huge. I have heard up to 90 million people will be under some sort of winter alert in the Northeast because of this storm. So this is a big one, and I think this one will be going down as probably one of the worst winter storms of 2020-2021 winter storm season. So let's get into some radar. So I do have temperatures pulled up because temperatures are a huge factor in the storm, and we're going to be looking at those northeast temperatures here. So let me zoom in here. You know what? We're going to reload that and get back to that. It's going to zoom in on the northeast here. All right, so weather stations on. All right, there we go. So it's zoomed in on the northeast. Perfect. Okay. So these cold temperatures have been locked in place because, let me turn on the fronts, right? We have this storm system. This was Winter Storm Flynn, right? This thing has become extremely powerful here in the Maritimes, and it's pulling down this cold air. Put a high pressure in place here. You are now locked in for some wintry temperatures indeed. So we have some temperatures in the Northeast. Let's start with Maine here. That's definitely wrong. Okay, so 1 degree, 4 degrees, 3 degrees, even on the coast, 12 degrees, 17 degrees just south of Portland. New Hampshire, you have areas 12 degrees. Northwest of Dover, you have areas near Lowell, 22 degrees. Areas near Burlington, 6 degrees. Near Watertown, 13 degrees. We have 23 degrees northwest of Buffalo. We have even into areas like Boston, 25 degrees. Pittsfield, 18 degrees. We have New Haven, 29 degrees. Montauk, 30 degrees. Nantucket, 33 degrees. Then even into New York, 29 degrees. We have Philadelphia, 31 degrees. Baltimore, Annapolis area, 30 degrees. Pittsburgh, 29. So we have very cold temperatures here, and that sets up this system and kind of leads the system to kind of start off as snow. That is abnormal for some of these snowstorms, especially in recent time periods. They've always started off as rain, switched over to snow, or started as snow, switched over to rain. In most areas here, we're going to be seeing snow, 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 which is great to see. So here is currently the radar for this system. Let me turn off these weather stations because I know they can get in the way of some of the data here. So let me turn off those. So we have snowfall from Wisconsin down into Arkansas, and we have this low pressure here in Texas. This thing will be weakening, and then a new one will form somewhere on the East Coast. Here's one that'll set the stage over here. That'll kind of die off as it starts to move north. Then a new one takes its place, and then that rides up the coast. Then a new one will take that place and then move east. So kind of an odd track for this system. So let's get into some winter weather outlooks here. So we have our winter weather outlooks. This is the chance of receiving 1 inch of snow. So you can see areas from West Virginia and Virginia into Pennsylvania. In the next 24 hours, you are expecting at least 1 inch of snow. Now, if we go 1 mile run further, you can see that area extends from West Virginia, Virginia into areas of southwestern Connecticut and southern New York. Then we go 1 run further, and that extends into the prime area for this storm system from West Virginia and Virginia up into western New York and out into the Boston area. And that kind of stays constant, maybe even goes a little bit further north here as the storm system moves on. But you can see those populated areas over here. Like, you have New York, Boston, areas of Connecticut, Rhode Island, southern Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, most of south of probably south of Albany, parts of New York, and most of interior Pennsylvania, away from the coast and the lakes, parts of New Jersey as well in there. And that is the prime area for some heavy snow. So if we move on over here, you can see this storm system starts to wind down by Friday. Now, here's something that is just for giggles, but 18 inches. Probability of 18 inches in 24 hours. This should be very far-fetched, but we should see something over here. Boom. Look at that. That is 40 to 50% chance in areas of Pennsylvania of receiving 18 inches of snow in 24 hours. So that really shows you the magnitude of this storm system. And those slight chances even extend into Maine. You can see the overall risk here extends from areas of western Maryland and northern West Virginia through Maine. Here is the prime area. If you're going to see heavy snowfall, it'll be in this area right over here. This is what's highlighted. So let me zoom in on that, actually. I'm going to zoom in on this. If it would load, that'd be great. So let's zoom in here. There we go. Okay. So right in here, this is your prime area for some major snow totals. Boom. Okay, so south of Augusta, east of Pittsburgh, northwest of DC, northwest of Philly, New York is included, Boston's included, Hartford's included, Providence is included, Concord is included, Albany is included, east of Buffalo, Harrisburg is included, and Harrisburg probably has the best chance of seeing, especially if we get into like 12 inches. Yeah, you can see that's 70 to 80%. 8 inches, we have Harrisburg in that 90 to 95% chance. This is a major snowstorm. Everybody's been saying it, but the one thing that people haven't been talking about is that there's huge bust potential with this storm system. So let's take a look at that real quick. So, NAM 3-kilometer model, right? We're going to go through here. You see the current storm system. Everything kind of ramps up here. But then you get all this heavy snowfall starts to go further inland, right? And it has that low pressure pulling up more warm air, and some of those coastal areas kind of get shunned of some snow. Now, if you live on the I-95 corridor, that might not be something that you want to hear right now, because the last time the I-95 corridor got some major snowfall was 2017, 2018. So let's go over here. You can see it has the major center of this storm system well to the north and west. Like areas of Maine get most of the snow, New Hampshire, Vermont, inland Massachusetts, the northwest corner of Connecticut, central New York, northwest Jersey, most of central Pennsylvania is still in there. That's why they have the highest chances. And then some areas of Maryland and West Virginia. Now that differs from our global models. So let's take a look at that. So here's the GFS. We're just going to go right here. We're going to do a forecast loop, and we're going to go straight to winter weather because I've been showing this model run here for the last 2 hours. So let's go straight to the snow depth. You can see that it also has some of that higher snowfall totals in more inland regions, but it still has that 6 to 12 inches very close to the coast. Like areas in New York will probably see 10, 11 inches. Let's actually zoom in on the northeast. So regional, boom. So areas like the northeast here, this is right after the storm. So areas like New York, you'll see 10, 11 inches of snow. Areas like Hartford, 9 inches. Providence, 9 inches. Boston, 9 inches. Philadelphia is a very weird situation. because this is usually what happens with these storms. If they don't get a storm system that's well out here, they're not going to get enough cold air to really get major snowfall. So there's 3 tracks that a nor'easter can take: inland, I like to call it the Goldilocks, and then out to sea. This area right in here, which is what this storm is, getting the Goldilocks effect here. Areas like Cape Cod, eastern Long Island, areas of Jersey, Delaware, the Delmarva in general, and then areas even like DC need that out to sea track to really get some heavy snowfall totals. So this is having Philadelphia 3 to 4 inches. But that differs from the European model. The European model is completely different. Let's go to the European model. So the European model has kind of been, I wouldn't say the most consistent, but the most confident in their forecast. They have been taking away some snow in this eastern area over here. I think it might just be a little bit too warm. There might be a little changeover from the fluffy white snow to that kind of wet, soppy, grayish snow. At least that's how I see it. So you have areas like New York probably getting 13 inches. Philadelphia has you getting like 5 to 7 inches. DC getting a couple 1 to 2 inches. But then you have this jackpot zone, 25, 26 inches of snow in areas of Pennsylvania. So this has been a very weird storm to kind of get a feel of because of these snowfall total differences. Most people have been going with the European model. I think it's been a little bit more accurate than some of the other global models over the course of this winter so far, as well as parts of the spring, the summer, even into the fall. But the NAM 3-kilometer model's also been pretty accurate. So this is a huge instance of model wars. Which model do you think is correct? And I know that's probably going to be which model gives you the most snowfall if you're a snow lover. So it's so difficult. We're like 24 hours out from this event, and there are so many different kind of total snowfall amounts in every area. That's why you can look at areas like Boston and get like 4 different snowfall totals from 4 different models if you want to go look at 4 models. But I think that generally what you're going to see on TV is this. This is what most people have kind of agreed upon. But again, huge bust potential. Now let's move on to the Weather Channel. So we have Winter Storm Gail will strike the East Coast Wednesday into Thursday. Snow will blanket at least parts of the I-95 corridor from Boston to near Washington, D.C. You can see that's definitely not the GFS model because the GFS doesn't even have D.C. getting anything. Over a foot of snow is expected from parts of western Maryland to southern New England. Definitely, the Weather Channel is a huge supporter of the European model, so that's where they're going here. Winter Storm Gail will be a high-impact nor'easter from parts of the Mid-Atlantic to New England beginning on Wednesday. It will bring heavy snow, strong winds, and some coastal flooding. Significant winter storm impacts are not only expected in the interior Northeast, but also near parts of the Interstate 95 corridor in southern New England to southern New York City and areas near Philadelphia. So here's that upper-level energy. Actually, no. Yeah, so upper-level energy will eventually spawn this East Coast storm. It's generating snow in the plains. Right now, just some snow showers in the plains. Second time in 3 days, snow is blanketing Oklahoma City. That was why Flynn was named. So once that energy reaches the eastern coast states on Wednesday, it'll generate and intensify an area of low pressure near the northeast coast. At the same time, a strong high pressure in eastern Canada will supply fresh cold air into the northeast. There's the winter storm alerts, winter storm impacts. Extreme winter storm impacts in areas of Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia. Virginia also has a chance of seeing major ice out of this thing. But then again, ice in the south is kind of a big deal. If this was just an ice storm in the south, even like Virginia, North Carolina, this would have been named anyway. But look at this area of moderate, right? That follows like the exact path of this European model. So here is the forecast timing. This is Tuesday night. You can see snow from OKC to Indianapolis and into Virginia and West Virginia. Wednesday, you could see snow getting into New York, Philadelphia, DC. You're starting off as a mix. Ice here in North Carolina and Virginia. Snow in Pittsburgh, mix in Cincinnati. Detroit might see a few flakes. Now you have Wednesday night. This is when we'll probably see most major impacts. And having this come overnight makes it even worse, because you have these eastern winds here coming into the Boston area. And I talked about this in my Winter Storm Gail video. Boston and this area over here is kind of in an interesting situation with these storms, because they have this kind of funnel for that coastal flooding, and most of the coastal flooding ends up being in here. And that's just because most of the strong winds are on this side. Most of they have open access to the Atlantic Ocean, and they have that funnel effect as well. You could also say that about the Long Island Sound, but that really doesn't happen as often, unless you get like perfect west-southwest winds over there. But that really won't happen here. Now you have Thursday. This thing's well off the coast now. But you can see how big this storm is to still be bringing impacts to areas north of Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Bangor, Albany. And then you have their snowfall forecast, which is pretty much the European model. So that is all I have for my forecast for today.